Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming Bouvier. You all know Bouvier. She was the star of the 1989 Andy Milligan horror cult classic comedy Surgikill. She was also in a movie she wrote called Venice Beach before that, a movie about homelessness in LA, which it's gotten way worse since then. She, I believe she took a break for a long time. I'm going to ask her if she did, but she came back with Club Lingerie, Ballet of Blood, and now she's got Blood Tulips, another movie she wrote that I think has been being passed around the film festival circuit and has been screened before COVID hit, and maybe even during, who knows. And I'm going to ask her about all that stuff, and it's going to be pretty cool. I mean, I grew up watching Surgikill on USA Up All Night, so I'm pretty excited about this. I'd forgotten about it for a long time, and then when the connection, Roger Neal, suggested Bouvier, I was like, yes, Bouvier from Surgikill. Yes, I will take her. So yeah, here is my interview with Bouvier. Welcome to the show. This is such a great honor, and I appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you. I appreciate being asked to be on the show. I'm very excited about it. I've heard about your show, and I heard it's very good, and I appreciate being asked.
Oh, thank you so much. My pleasure. So, going back in time, did you gravitate toward acting in film early on in your childhood?
Yes, pretty early. When I was little growing up, my sisters and I used to put on little plays in our backyard for the neighbors and friends, and I guess that's how it started. And then when I went to school, I was in acting classes and put on plays. And then when I got out of school, I was in little theater. And then I came to Los Angeles and took acting classes and studied. And it's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from back east. I grew up in Ohio.
Oh, nice. Nice. I heard Ohio is a nice little theater town.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of small towns, and I think people, have something to do, even if they're not actors. They have something to do, and they like to be involved, and it's fun and everything. So I know where I was from, they had like a little theater group, and people all liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard like Youngstown has a nice little playhouse, and there's some actors that are from Youngstown that perform there a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
What year did you move to Los Angeles?
Oh, it was about, I think it was about 20 years ago. I'm almost a native.
When you were taking acting classes, was there anybody in your class that went on to become a successful actor?
One class I was in, Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci?
Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
No, he was in Home Alone. He was the
Goodfellas.
That broke into the house, and he's been in a lot of films.
Yeah, Goodfellas. He won the Academy Award for.
Goodfellas.
Raging Bull. Yeah.
A
lot of good stuff. Wow, so Joe Pesci was in one of your classes. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was. I was in the, I forgot which one. I think it was Lillian Chavon's class. Or else it was a night acting class at Hollywood High.
Oh, okay. Did you study with...
Anyhow.
Yeah, did you study with Peggy Fury or Milton Casellas?
No, I didn't. I studied with different coaches, and I studied sort of the Stanislavski method, and so I'm kind of a method actress.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Developed my own style out of that, but yeah, that was kind of my my basis for developing my characters, when I do a film, when I do anything.
Certainly, yeah. You do the method very well, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I do my best.
Yeah. So how does Venice Beach come about?
We used to go to Venice Beach a lot, and it was fun. And when we did the film, it was kind of known all over the world, even when we did the film, and just kind of liked the atmosphere and a lot of interesting characters. So just wrote a film about Venice Beach.
Yeah.
Horror comedy.
Yeah. Was it based on personal experience?
Well, it was based on kind of observations of things that were happening there, like bag ladies, derelicts, musicians, and kind of built the story around that. In fact, the bag lady, I started out in the film as a runaway from a bad situation with a mother that was a prostitute and a drunk. Ended up there, and in the film, I kind of was befriended by a bag lady who felt sorry for me because she saw me eating out of trash cans, and she kind of took me under her wing and taught me how to kind of live on the street and everything.
Wow. Yeah,
so it was a fun film to do.
Yeah, I'm fast.
My latest film, which you probably got all the information from Roger Neal, was Blood Tulips.
Right.
And that was actually based on true events, and part of it was filmed in Holland and the Netherlands, in like Amsterdam and The Hague and Delft, and partly filmed here in the States in San Pedro, actually.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with homelessness because I was homeless for about 4 years just a couple of years ago, and it didn't get as bad as, the bag lady status, but it was pretty bad, but I'm so fascinated by people who were there and then they eventually got themselves out of it.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, it's really difficult to get that far, like desolate, that people have to live that way. And I think people that have a car or an RV to live in are lucky. I mean, that's better off than just living on the street, because you just drive around and you see people just sleeping on the sidewalk, and, they just have all their belongings, which isn't very much. And yeah, it's a really sad situation.
It is.
I hope that something could be done about it. It's just getting worse all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty bad in LA now, But was it just as bad back when you made this movie?
Oh no, not at all. It just progressively gotten worse all the time. But you're lucky that you got out of it, because that takes a lot of willpower and chances and all to get out of that kind of situation.
It does. I was just totally blessed, especially when I had my car accident. That really helped. That helped a big deal, and I wouldn't be doing this podcast now talking to you if it wasn't for that. I've been very blessed. But how did you get financing for the movie?
Well, it was a really. You mean Blood Tulips or
for
Venice Beach?
For Venice Beach.
Well, Venice Beach, it was really low budget, and it didn't take a lot of financing, because we got locations on Venice Beach, like on the boardwalk and on the sand, and we were lucky we got permits from somebody that really wanted to help us and liked the film. So it didn't take a lot of financing. We had an attorney that put in some of the money, and then some of it just people just wanted to be in it, so they did it without pay, and turned out they were all real good actors.
And Tom Feldman, who was the director, was he a friend of yours?
The director?
Yeah.
No, we didn't know him. We just, I think we just put in an ad in Variety or one of the trade magazines for a director, and he was one of them that replied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I see on his IMDb that's the only movie he made.
Oh, pardon me, I didn't hear that.
Oh, because I see on his IMDb that that's the only movie he made, so I didn't know if maybe he was a friend of yours from the theater or something.
No, I'm surprised because he did other films. Before he directed Venice Beach, he did some other ones, and we saw his work. He sent what he had done, and he looked like he'd be a good director.
Yeah, IMDb is never accurate. That's one thing I've learned from doing this podcast and interviewing people. They tell me about movies they did that's not even listed, or there's movies on there that they weren't even in. So it's always inaccurate. So that's why I had to ask about him.
Yeah, I have to put a lot more things on there. I have to really update it.
Really, was there stuff you did that is not on there?
No, but there's pictures and there's interviews. There's pictures from filming in Holland for Blood Tulips, and there's interviews about Blood Tulips that I've had. I've had quite a few Zoom interviews. Last week I was on the Rhonda Shear show, and quite a few other ones, and then radio interviews and written interviews. So I'm getting a lot of the film's getting a lot of attention. And in England, it had its world premiere in January. That's before the virus hit, and it was at Horror on Sea Film Festival, and it was the finalist, mm-hmm. And it got 3 rounds of applause and standing ovation. And we went there. I went there with the directors for the film, and we didn't know what to expect, but we were really surprised. And we had a lot of adventures filming in Holland, even the red light district, because the film, it kind of was based on true. Well, it was based on true events. It starts out World War II, where a family was turned in and taken away by the Nazis, and their valuable art stolen, a painting that was 16th century. And then it deals with art theft rings and human trafficking. We actually filmed in the red light district, and it's a horror thriller.
Wow. And
it was supposed to have its world premiere. It's Los Angeles premiere here, and it got postponed because of the virus, but the San Pedro Art Association is the sponsor, and they've been around for 90 years, and this is the first film that they've sponsored because they liked it so much, and so I'm really honored to have that have happened. So now it looks like maybe January until maybe it'll be able to be shown, because all the theaters here are closed up, and the mayor said until then, so pretty disappointing, but I guess it'll happen.
It's insane. I never thought this would happen in my lifetime, but as I look back on it's
so strange, and it just laughs and laughs, and it just, I never had anything like this happen.
Yeah, as I look back in hindsight, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and by 99, I saw the world, from 99 forward, I just saw the world getting weirder and weirder, and I had never seen the world getting weirder and weirder before that. Internet, 9/11, everything else that's happened. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the politicians are getting weirder, too. All they do is argue and fight and bicker among each other instead of doing something for the country.
I know.
I'm not political at all, but this impeachment thing, that was just a waste of the taxpayers' money and time that they could be working on something helpful.
Yeah, Kennedy and Nixon never bickered on TV. They were very civil with each other.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, oh my God. So what's the whole genesis behind Blood Tulips?
Well, it starts out in World War II where a man is running from the Nazis with a painting and a loaf of bread. And he has kind of a consultation with his wife when he rushes in the door. And they haven't eaten for like a week. And he traded something for the bread. And they're starving. And he said he turned somebody in because their kids were starving and they were starving. And it starts there. And the painting that's involved was at that time stolen from a Jewish family that were sent to the concentration camp. And at present day, an art gallery owner has the same painting, but he believes it came from his family, like it was inherited from the family in Europe. And he doesn't know the story behind it, but he gets an offer from a museum in Holland to sell it, and he really wants to keep it in the family, but he needs the money real bad, so he reaches an agreement to sell it, and they send a deposit, and they want it hand-delivered. Right. So he sends his niece to Holland to deliver it, but her sister and her uncle, after 2 days, are frantic because they haven't been able to reach her by text or email or phone or anything. And they get really worried, so they report her as a missing person. And her sister, Starla, that's my part, I think it's going too slow, so against my uncle's wishes, I go to Holland to look for her. So I'm going all over with my iPad, showing her picture and asking people if they might have seen her. And then actually what happened at the museum had sent the representatives to meet her, but they were imposters, and they kidnapped her and destroyed all her identity and phone and everything, and sold her to a madam in the red light district of Amsterdam. So after her sister looks for a few days, she's kind of exhausted, and she happens to meet a man in a coffee shop where she stops to ask to show the picture also, and he hasn't seen her, he says, but he wants to help her, so he kind of becomes her love interest, and a lot of things happen, like they're both chased by this bad guy who has the theft ring because he finds out that she's looking for her sister and about the painting, and a lot of things happen. Like I'm in my part, I'm an artist, and I'm sitting in the middle of the tulip fields painting. They're painting tulips, and he's all of a sudden he's there after me, so I'm running and screaming. And then in another scene, I'm running along the street in The Hague, and he's after me there too. And I run around a corner, and it's kind of a busy street with a lot of people, and a woman screams. She thinks it's real. She thinks I'm really being chased.
Yeah.
And so I won't give the story away, but a lot of things happen, and it shows a lot of beautiful scenery in Holland, like the tulip fields and the little canals with boats and little bridges and historical buildings, beautiful like 16th or 15th century architecture, and it's very, very beautifully filmed. And one time, too, we were driving along a road to look for a place to film, looking for a place with windmills, and we didn't know we were driving down the driveway to the Queen's Palace, and we were told that we couldn't be there, but we didn't know, but we got some of that footage, too.
Wow.
So it was pretty exciting. We took a few members of the crew there, and then picked up a couple there, and it was quite an adventure.
I'll bet. Yeah, this movie is being described as a homage to Italian horror films of the 70s. Is that a fair way to put it?
Well, I'm not too familiar with the films of the 70s, but Randy Kent, who directed it, he compared it to that, so he probably has more knowledge than I do. It's kind of it's a horror thriller with a little bit of comedy. Like there's a detective that her uncle is a friend of her uncle, and he's And he has a friend at Interpol, so he gets him involved. But the detective is doing his work, but he's very messy. He's always sitting there eating a hamburger with the juice drooling all over his face. So he's kind of a comedy relief in a way.
Yeah. Did it take a while for the movie to get made and now being released in the festivals before COVID?
Yes, we were lucky before COVID that it was presented to festivals, and it was also in one in Los Angeles. I can't think of the name of it right offhand, but it was a finalist in that too, and yeah, it was lucky it happened just before then, because in January is when we went to England to the Horror on Sea Film Festival, and that was just before it hit. And then, of course, this happening kept it from being premiered here and, and being distributed and so on.
Wow. And have you been getting a lot of good feedback on the movie?
Yes, we've been getting really good feedback from everywhere. Some of the people at the film festival said it's already a cult classic in England, and they keep in touch and they say how much they liked it. And in fact, the director of the film festival, Paul Cotgrove, he said out of the 3 weeks, they had the festival 3 weekends. He said out of the 3 weeks, this was the film. It was the last film of the festival, but he says the film that got the most applause and the most attention. So that was really wonderful hearing that.
Yeah. Do you think you'll end up doing a sequel?
Well, I hope so. The film festival, they're already asking for a sequel. So we'll just have to see after it gets released here and everything starts to happen again, which I hope couldn't be too soon.
Yeah. Yep.
I think you agree.
Yeah. You mentioned before about Rhonda Shear. I grew up watching her show USA Up All Night, and I used to see that movie on there that you did, Surgikill.
Oh, you saw it on her show?
Yeah, back in the early 90s. And I always thought that was such a silly movie. How did you get to be cast in that?
Oh, Surgikill?
Yeah.
Well, Andy Milligan was the director. Actually, somebody else wrote it, but he was interested, wanted to direct it, but he changed a lot of it because it was more serious, and he made it more comedy.
Yeah.
Serious, but a comedy at the same time. And the original writer, he still hates him for that, even though Andy passed away. But Andy has a really large cult following, and there's a lot of publicity all the time about Surgikill. That was his last film. Mm-hmm. And I guess I happened to be in it because it took place in a hospital. When I was little, I wanted to be, well, I didn't know what I wanted to be first. I wanted to be a teacher because I liked my grade school first grade teacher. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be a doctor, and then I wanted to be a veterinarian, and then I wanted to be a scientist. So when I was able to do that film, I thought at that time, well, if I'm an actress, I can be all those things. So when that film came along, I had a chance to be a doctor. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. What was Andy Milligan like?
He was very serious in his work. A lot of people didn't like him, but a lot of times when somebody's a perfectionist, people don't like them because they think they're too particular or too picky. But he did things very, very low budget, but he got everything done. He asked me one time, he needed somebody in a film he did before that, Monstrosity. to be in a car and, act like I was being thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it for him, and it was on Hollywood Boulevard, and he had his lights were just a bunch of extension cords that somebody had let them use their store to plug the lights into. So that was really low budget, and something that happened. I was supposed to be thrown. It looked like I got thrown out of the car, but I actually got thrown out. So they kept that, and it was real.
Yeah.
But he liked to do everything himself. I mean, somebody offered to go get the flowers that we needed, but he had to go and get them because he wanted a certain flower. And in the films where he was in charge of the costumes, he even made the costumes, not for this film, but other ones. Because the hospital that we rented, it was a kind of a medical center that was in foreclosure or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to use all the supplies in there, the beds, the gowns, even the pills. So that worked out really good. And it was kind of an area where a lot of derelicts were hanging out, and they had to when I left, somebody walked me to my car because it was not a too safe area.
Wow.
But he was, a lot of people didn't like him, but I got along really good with him. He almost had a fight with there was an attorney that put in part of the money, and a representative for an attorney that put in part of the money to do it. He was on the set all the time, and him and Andy almost had a fist fight. Somebody had to get between them to stop it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he had a long career.
He was real particular, though.
Yeah, I bet. He had a long career directing theater. A lot of people don't realize that, in addition to all the horror films he made. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Excuse me, he did a lot of theater. And he did like 31 films over his career.
Yeah, wow. After you did that movie, did you take a long break from the business?
Oh, after I did
Surgikill. Yeah.
Not too long. I think I had other things I had to take care of that weren't related to the business, so I was not doing anything for a while. But I was always like writing things and coming up with ideas.
Yeah,
I have one. I have one now. I think my next project's going to be more of a comedy, kind of a comedy horror thriller.
Yeah.
More comedy.
Yeah, because I see there was a long gap between Surgikill and Club Lingerie, like almost 25 years. So that's why.
Long.
That's why
I had some kind of personal problems and things I had to deal with.
Oh, that's great. You persevered through it, though. I mean, you're on the comeback trail, big with Blood Tulips, at least.
Yeah, I feel I am. I hope it's true.
Do you know if the movie is going to be available on Blu-ray or on demand or anything like that?
Oh, I'm sure it will be. I don't know just when because everything stopped because of this virus situation.
Yeah. Do you have any projects in the future after COVID, like the one you just mentioned you were writing?
Yeah, I'd like to do that one next. I also have one about kind of a scary movie about a swamp witch.
Swamp witch. That's pretty creative. I never thought of that kind of concept. Yeah, because there's already been Swamp Thing, but how about Swamp Witch?
Yeah, there's been quite a lot of movies about witches and all, and I think people always like them because they're scary.
Yeah.
I think a good horror film is one that makes people like scream and get scared.
Yeah.
And know they're watching it, and I mean they kind of live it,
Mm-hmm.
That's why they get so scared and scream, because it's kind of like they're in the movie. I know when I saw, it's an old movie and I saw it a long time ago, but Carrie.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Oh, it's one of my favorites, yeah.
Yeah, but at the end when that hand comes out of the grave, Oh my God! I thought I screamed, and I grabbed my husband who was sitting beside me, and I was just screaming and trembling.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that movie. One of the Mean Girls, or actually two of the Mean Girls, have been on this podcast.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, PJ Souls and Terry Bolo. Yeah.
Oh, how long have you been doing the podcast?
3 years. I started in 2017.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to do one. I have to find out more about it. I don't really know how to go about it.
Just get, an MP3 and, maybe a mixer and, find a platform like iTunes or YouTube and talk away and upload it, basically.
Oh, MP3 and mixer?
Yeah, it's like an amplifier. I personally don't use that. I use my iPhone to record. You can do that too. Just put your iPhone on a flat surface with a black background and press camera. Make sure you know how many minutes you have on your camera, because you could be talking and then it'll stop, and just talk away and then upload.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Yeah, I tell everybody to start a podcast. I think that it's the greatest tool that we've been given. It's not part of the FCC and everything. You can say anything you want. You can talk about anything. There's no producers breathing down your neck. It's not like talk radio. It's much more liberating as far as broadcasting is. And I encourage everyone to do it, because I run into people with such brilliant minds. I think that everybody in the world needs to be heard with their brilliant minds.
Oh, I think so too. That we need a lot more brilliance than some of this ridiculous things have been going on.
Mm-hmm. What kind of things would you talk about on your podcast?
I'd probably talk about films and art.
Yeah, I think that would be up your alley.
Yeah, I'd have to think about a really good thing that would be kind of different. That would, kind of prompt people to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could do it with an iPad too, couldn't I?
You could do it with an iPad, yeah. I was curious.
Yeah, that's how I did my on-camera interviews, like Zoom interviews.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People do it on Zoom and all that. I personally don't, because I need to lose more weight. I think I look terrible. I don't want anyone to see me.
Oh, well, you lose weight. You just have to watch what you eat. I know you know this, but
yeah.
Very little fat or sugar or starch, and exercise, walk or run every day, or a few times a week.
Oh yeah, I've been on diets.
Work.
I was on one diet that worked back in 2006. The only difference is now, I'm older and I got metal in my leg from my accident. I can't, exercise like I used to,
Oh.
But I'll figure it out. I've already lost 20 pounds already, so.
Well, that's a good beginning.
It's a good beginning.
And there's so many good things to eat. My weakness is desserts, like cheesecake and ice cream.
Oh, me too. I'm a big dessert guy.
Yeah, join the club.
It's like cocaine to me.
Oh, yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah. I was curious. So where did you get a name like Bouvier?
That's my real last name.
Mm-hmm. So you decided
my grandfather, the name was Bouvier, but when people came through Ellis Island a long time ago, a lot of them couldn't say the name, so they changed it. So they changed it to Bowie, but like David Bowie, but it actually is Bouvier.
Oh, okay. So you decided you just wanted to go by the last name as a homage to him.
Yeah, I think so. But just kind of a different name,
Mm-hmm. That's very sweet, though. I admire that.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. This has been a lot of fun, Bouvier. I thank you for coming on today.
Well, thank you for having me, Tom. It was really fun talking to you. And is there a number I can call you, or or email address so I could get in touch with you?
Oh yeah, have Roger give you my email address. I could email him and let him know, and
Okay.
we can
And that'd
connect
be
that way.
great. Yeah.
Yes, and I can even give you my cell phone number too when we connect. So.
Okay. Okay, that'd be great. Well, thank you for having me on the show. It was really a pleasure to be invited, and I enjoyed talking to you, Tommy.
My pleasure. I enjoyed talking to you too, and have yourself a great day. And please stay safe because we need you.
Oh, thank you. You too. We need you too in your podcast.
Oh, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Well, there you have it. Bouvier. Ain't she a sweetheart? Ha, nice lady, great stories, and she persevered. You know, I love that word, persevere. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.